Good, good. Maven morning. Happy Wednesday, guys. Oh my gosh. If you don't know me, I'm Olivia Denson Thomas, the brand counselor, helping you go from hustling to wholeness with brand strategy. And today is one of those grit, grace, and gratitude kind of days. Um, but I think that's what it's about. I think that's what it's about in the long run, where things don't necessarily go exactly the way you think they should go, or even the way you want them to go. And you have to work with it. You have to work around it, right? Because every day in business is not going to be the perfect day. And things aren't really going to go the way you think they're going to go just because that's how you want them to go. And that's kind of what we're talking about today. So I want to talk about articulation and iteration and creating clarity um, that fuels expansion, right? I think a lot of us love to do something one time or maybe twice, like two drafts and we're out, and then send it out into the world and it feels good. Like A+ mentality, you're gonna put it in and you're gonna get the right grade you're going for. But unfortunately slash fortunately, business doesn't actually follow a structure like that. Nor does building a brand. Me and my hair are having a weird moment. Okay. Nor does building a brand. So I just wanted to talk about that and encourage you and kind of tell you a little story of something that happened to me recently. I went on a trip, a workation with my friend who is just lovely. And I think I've talked about this before, but this is something else that came out of it where I wrote maybe like 3 or 4 months worth of content while sitting on the beach and just kind of like enjoying our time. And it was so good. Everything was flowing where usually it doesn't feel like it flows in that way. It came out, which was wonderful. So I finally kind of come back home, settle into putting the content where it needs to go, all the scheduling, all this stuff, so I can kind of like get that part over with and then go out into the world and network and, do whatever I need to do to get people to the content. Um, and then I looked at it and I was like, I don't like any of this. And it's not that I didn't like it, it's that it fit an audience that was not for me right now. It fit an audience that maybe like I understood differently at a time, but not necessarily one that looks like where I'm going. So I had to scrap it. I had to scrap it and kind of like get rid of the majority of it. Some of it I can modulate and make it do what it needs to do. But that's the thing. I would not have had that understanding that I was doing something that didn't match me or my people had I not done it at all. Right? Sometimes we get so stuck in the idea of go 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 um, without strategy that we get stuck in pause. Frankly, we don't do anything. That we get stuck in this idea that something's going to work. Um, and then we're really disappointed that it doesn't work, which is always funny when people are disappointed that something doesn't work when they haven't put in the effort, right? But it is quite normal for that to happen. It's like, oh man, you're thinking about it so much that your brain and your body think that it actually happened versus you doing it and then it actually happening, right? Like the brain is kind of tricky. Like you really have to get in line with it. But the reality is you have to, in order to see if it's going to work, you have to put it on paper. Because otherwise, you don't really know what's going to happen. It's really about experimentation and getting it out and organizing it. The thing about putting something on paper, and I'm saying paper not to mean pen and paper, but like written in front of you, is that although there's power in the physically written word if you have the ability, so is that you can see it. It becomes physical, it becomes real. And if it's real, you can kind of move it around and maneuver it, but then also you can test it. And when you test it, you can see if it actually resonates with you in real life or if it resonates with the audience that you're going for. Your audience can be partners, investors, employees, customers, clients, right? Like audiences pretty much vary. I think a lot of the time people get to a certain level of success, a certain level of an idea of themselves, and they decide that almost like there's no more need for exploration. There's no more need for iteration because the thing that they are doing is already working. And that's real, right? Like it's tiresome to work in and on the business, or it can be tiresome to work in and on the business if you're not like resourced and have someone to like delegate the stuff to, which make sure you have someone to delegate stuff to. But it's important because it keeps the business from stagnation, right? The business only grows if you continue to say, hey, what's that over there? Like, the audience is doing this. What does this mean for us? Or they're asking for this, and this fits within our pillars. What does this mean for us? The world, the culture is doing this. We can solve for this. What does this mean for us? Right? So the more you articulate, the more you can ask yourself that question. Well, what does this mean for us? Because you need to understand what's going on between the two, but you have to understand what's happening with you right now. So whatever that idea is, get it out, right? Like put it on paper. I was gonna say put it on wax. Ooh. Put it on paper, put it in audio, like do something with it and then test it. And when the first time, if it doesn't work, if for whatever reason you put it out and it's like not amazing, tweak it and test it again, right? That's why we pivot. Like pivoting is absolutely okay. And also, you don't have to test everything with your entire audience. You can test it with smaller groups, right? That's what what are those things called? Why can't I remember it all of a sudden? That's what those groups are for, right? Market research groups. That's what they're for. And obviously, like you don't have to have like a big set of people. You can just ask people. For a lot of these tech companies, I was laughing the other day because my friend was like, "Oh man, I guess it was like your Instagram or something. He's like, does your Instagram do this? Like, oh, you can just blah 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 blah." And I'm like, girl, I must have not gotten that rollout, right? Because a lot of the time the companies will roll out to maybe like 10,000 or like 100,000 people at a time to see if a feature actually works. So, yes, I might have something, or you might have something, but like the other might not have it because we might not be in that test group because people are always articulating and iterating. Now, I don't want to say like tech companies are the end all be all for like what the good looks like in business, but I do want to be clear on what I'm saying as far as your market research. Like you can ask a subset of your audience that you trust and say, "Hey, you look like where I'm going. You look like you understand what the future looks like and what matters um, for right now. Can you actually look at this and see if it works or see if it doesn't?" Because that's what helps you get into the reality of it. Also, a lot of people are using AI as their research assistants, and they think that articulating through AI means you already have the answers because it has access to a wide research library, right? It has access to everything. Um, but it doesn't have access to people and like real life sentiment. So being able to actually put whatever you're saying out and talk to someone who's in the industry, in the lifestyle, in the demographics, in the aspiration categories that you actually want to work with, having them tell you what's real and what's not, it helps a lot. it's happened multiple times where it's like, hey, here's a thing that I worked on, me and my research assistant. How does it actually resonate with you? And then the person says, oh, this is good, but, right? As much information as it has, it doesn't have context. Context matters. So to have a really deep understanding of your audience, it's fantastic. But having a practical, applicable understanding of your audience actually matters just as much. So you have to both articulate, get it on paper. Don't keep over editing, right? Do not keep over editing. Give yourself 2 drafts and put it out, right? And you have to set those rules for yourself because it's easy to get caught in a perfectionist loop because it's like, oh, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not good enough. And maybe there's more. Maybe there's something I can expand on, and just kind of wanting to grow it and make it more perfect at the same time. That is a trap. So you have to decide on how many drafts are like reasonable for you. Go for that amount of drafts. Do your once over however you need to do it, and then put it out and see if someone else likes it. And then also see if you like it. Ooh, excuse me. And then do it again and again and again, because that's the thing that will keep whatever you're working on like growing, expanding, and connecting, right? It is not about it being perfect. It's about it being connective, right? Does the audience understand it? Do you actually like it? There has to be that integration, audience understanding, and you actually liking it because you want to be able to do it. You want to be able to produce it, right? Because even if you're a product business and you produce the thing one time and you just like put it out there into the world and other people can buy it, you want to still feel the integrity that you produce something that you believe in and the audience also believes in, right? Like there still needs to be that intersection of like you feel alignment in this thing. So yeah, I mean, I've seen, and I was thinking about this the other day. I've definitely seen companies kind of like not accidentally, like jump into places where they have made a lot of money and then not really know what to do next, because in getting there it was a culture thing, like the world changed and suddenly their thing was needed, right? Which is amazing. Like I think that's fantastic and I love when that happens. um so now they're in a place where they almost feel stuck, and also don't know how to continue to attract people who are like the people that suddenly came to them, right? Because I guess they fit. If they fit, that's great. If it fits, it ships. Um, so this is something for that, right? Like no matter the level of business you're at, like this is not actually beginner information. This is definitely for the growth stage where you have to continue to articulate and iterate because businesses die all the time. Like the lifespan of a business, it's like, oh, it's incredible if you made it for 5 years, right? The lifespan of a business, it's not amazing because people tend to get, for many reasons, let me say this, for many reasons. But one reason that I have seen and that I serve, because I can only speak for what I see and what I serve seriously. I know the other reasons, there are lots of other reasons. Is stagnation. It's stagnation because you don't want to keep up or you don't know how to keep up with the changing of the culture, the changing of the guard, like how people receive information. And I don't necessarily mean like content trends, I mean context. I mean what actually matters to people and how they now understand what it is that you're doing and now find like applicable use cases for what you're doing so that they can see themselves in it, right? Like maybe there are different stories you need to tell. Maybe you need to start telling those stories, right? Maybe you haven't actually been sharing your testimonials. Maybe there is something about certain features that are a huge benefit for the thing that people are doing right now, right? And maybe you need to share that. But none of this happens if you don't actually say it. Like you have to actually say why your thing is amazing, why your thing is great. So I've been saying it in the marketing sense, but I'm also saying it in the development sense to articulate. Because sometimes as you're developing, you don't really know what's happening until you put it on paper to test it. Um, my homegirl, what did she say? I love it. She's like, I'm an artist, a scientist, and a coach. Not me, her. Um, and I think it's beautiful because I think all of this is science, right? All of this is experimentation. It's like the scientific method, right? And like if you talk to me for any period, I'll probably say the word hypothesis and theory. Like we're going from hypothesis to theory, and theories are still testable, right? Um, because theories are still testable. Like a theory is what is established understanding for now. So there's always going to be newly established information because every theory turns back into a hypothesis. And then a hypothesis, if tested and validated, turns into a theory, right? Business is the same way. Like your product development, your messaging, like every part of your business, how you do things, it's the same way. So there has to be some period in the year, twice a year, I'm going to say twice a year, that you sit and you really ask yourself the questions and start putting on paper like, hey, what's new? What do we care about? What do we want to talk about? How do we want to engage our audience? How do we want to engage as ourselves? What actually matters for bringing this vision to life and outside to play, right? And even kind of saying outside to play, it's important because play is way less aggressive. Um, is way less aggressive than a lot of other terms, but really it is like how do things interact with each other, right? Like, and how do things become real to people? Play is actually a great place to be because that's how people learn. You learn, what did they say, like 20 times faster? You learn something 20 times faster in play than you do like through any other kind of interaction. So like really you are asking yourself like how do we put this thing out in a way where it's adoptable and we can see whether or not it works, right? Um yeah, I always talk to my friend who teaches elementary school about how adults and children are really the same. Um and always kind of questioning like, well, what are the ways that we can use that sameness to make these business adoption interactions better, right? And these are questions that you kind of have to ask. Like, how is it that we can integrate this thing that we're doing into their lives um, for frictionless adoption so that they feel like this is actually for them, right? Because that's what you're doing with children when you add them to school. When you send them to school, um, you're helping them integrate new information into their lives and to adopt it to actually be like used. So when you're iterating after your articulation, that's really what you're doing. You're testing it, you're seeing what works and what doesn't work. And sometimes little Tommy in the back of the class just cannot get it because there is just like something going on there. And you have to figure out how to speak directly to little Tommy. Or you put little Tommy in a class that is appropriate for him. Sometimes every audience is not your audience and you have to be kind and move them to a place where they can be the audience and get what they need. Um, so that's it. That's all. I hope this was helpful. Man, today was already a day. Whoopsie. And yeah, today was already a day, but it's going to be a good day. And I'm excited that it's going to be a good day. There will be a blog post in regards to this conversation. If you would like to articulate and iterate with me, I will drop my details in the comment section. I am excited to be here, as always. So stay intentional and keep flourishing. Bye.